Hello, and welcome to the YouTube channel of the Officially Retired Club, or the O.R.C, as we call it. A veritable cornucopia of miscellaneous videos that can, indeed, be enjoyed by all. You'll get many facts, figures, and maybe a dash of fun thrown in. Uploaded by Ian and John, a couple of our less erudite members. Oh dear. Now where on earth are they today?
Episode 1. A Ramble in the Lickeys. Oh bugger, yes. Over to Ian.
Okay, thanks John. Here's an overview. 3 of us took a walk starting at the Lickey Hills Country Park Visitor Centre. We headed down the hill, heading generally east, passing under the Worcester to Birmingham railway line, then making our way towards the upper Bittell reservoir and onwards towards the lower Bittell reservoir via the Worcester Canal. We then followed the canal towards Alvechurch, passing under the M42, and eventually we came to the Crown Inn pub. No time for a pint today, unfortunately. At the Crown Inn pub, we left the canal heading roughly west up a field, past 2 benches where we stopped for a breather, much needed in my case, and eventually via lane we turned back north, crossing the M42 on a footbridge and moved into Barnt Green. Just opposite the railway station, we rejoined the park, up a long hill path, back up to a car park and a visitor centre. All in all, a nice trip. Weather was quite good, sunny to start off with, a bit of a shower later on, but a nice day. The walk was approximately 9 kilometres, took 2.5 hours. A nice walk, thoroughly recommended.
Let's get to the start. So turn into Warren Lane from Rose Hill, which is the B4096. When you turn into Warren Lane, on the right you'll see Holy Trinity Church. A short distance from the church, and also on the right, is the Visitor Centre. Keep going and you enter the car park. So, before we get the tracker started, let's get the lowdown on the park. Activate Factorum.
Hello and welcome to the Factorum. It's where the facts and figures are kept. I'll start with some facts. The Lickey Hills Country Park is a 524-acre country park in England, situated 16 kilometres southwest of Birmingham. The park exists in its current form only through the activities of the philanthropic Birmingham Society for the Preservation of Open Spaces, who in 1888 purchased Redknall Hill and later arranged for Pinfield Wood and Bilberry Hill to be permanently leased on a peppercorn rent. The society included spirited luminaries such as the 2nd Earl of Plymouth and several elders of the Cadbury family, led by George Cadbury and his wife Dame Elizabeth Cadbury. Interesting features in the park includes an obelisk folly, commemorating Other Archer Windsor, yes, his full name, the 6th Earl of Plymouth. He was responsible for creating the Worcestershire Yeomanry Volunteer Regiment of Cavalry, which served in the Napoleonic Wars. A kilometre north of this obelisk, on top of Beacon Hill, is the toposcope made in the early 20th century by the Cadbury family, standing near to the Ordnance Survey triangulation point. This point is 297 metres above sea level and provides the best views of the city and surrounding counties. And now back to the guys in the O.R.C.
Thanks Factorum. Let's get this show on the road and get the tracker started. Right, let's have a close-up then, Ian. Ian?
Oh, sorry about that, John. Not quite up to Steven Spielberg. Or is that Spielberg even?
Spielberg.
Spielberg.
Spielberg, yeah, here we go at the start. There was a downhill, but I didn't film it, unfortunately.
And a field of green stuff. Muddy underfoot. Turnips, we think. Hard to tell, really. Very early. If people know better, let us know. And through the muddy path. Yeah.
That's me, sloshing through the puddle. Yeah.
But later on, we got much more muddy than that. Later in the year, that is. It was a nice autumn day, this was.
And now we've got some dirt.
Yeah, what's that? It could be a UFO, I suppose, but I don't think so. It could be a target designator for a laser system.
But those things you're talking about, Putin, I don't think they're that bad.
I don't think he's doing much in the Lickey Hills. Here we go, underneath the railway bridge.
There's some trains going past as well.
And the odd thing about this railway bridge was no graffiti. Why not? Maybe it's been cleaned off. Maybe it was too rural for them. But we'll see later, that doesn't really apply.
Saint Michael and all angels.
Activate Victoria.
St. Michael and All Angels Anglican Church is located on Cofton Church Lane. The present building dates back to around the 14th century and was estimated to be built around 1330 by Robert de Leicester, although a church or chapel may have existed on the site in the 12th century, as Cofton is mentioned in a papal bull issued by Pope Innocent III in 1182. A papal bull is a type of public decree, letter, patent, or charter issued by a pope of the Catholic Church. It is named after the leaden seal, bulla, that was traditionally appended to the end in order to authenticate it. Pope Innocent III, who more famously annulled the Magna Carta on the 24th of August, 1215. And as overlord of the kingdom and protector of a king who had taken a crusader's vow, Pope Innocent III had already sent a string of letters to England berating the rebellious barons. Now he explained, "By such violence and fear as might affect the most courageous of men, they had forced John to accept an agreement, illegal, unjust, harmful to royal rights, and shameful to the English people. The Pope declared Magna Carta null and void of all validity forever. A judgment which reached England the following month." Okay, we went off on a bit of a tangent there, but that's what happens when you open the door to the Factorum. Sometimes you get more than you bargain for.
You're not wrong there, Factorum. So let's get moving. Up to the reservoir.
Ignore the signs that say private, it's really only for cars. You can walk up here quite happily.
I'm assuming that bloke there with his telescope's actually a bird watcher or something and not some sort of weirdo.
It
Anyway.
must be. It must be, hopefully. In public, you'd like to think so, wouldn't you?
Plenty of water there.
Yeah, the reservoir was quite full, but I think there was plenty of room for more water. You can see there's a bit of a gap round the edge, at maybe another couple of feet, certainly, in the winter.
Yeah, people watering the gardens, no doubt.
Yeah.
Had been a dry summer, so let them off.
Yeah. We walked up to this this structure you'll see in a second. Here it is. It's some sort of, we reckon it's some sort of plug or a sluice or something that allows you a plug hole. Well, yeah, every large surface area needs some way of draining it, and I think it drains it down to this funny little structure down here, sort of green dome. We could hear water gurgling. That's the word. What's inside the little green dome? Who knows? A big pump or something. You can Google it. I'm sure it's out there.
Oh, and now after the reservoir we were down some country lanes.
Up to the canal.
Up to the canal, yeah, so it's...
This is the Worcester to Birmingham Canal. One of Birmingham's famous canals. It makes it as canal-y as Venice, apparently.
Yeah, long way down.
Danger of death. Fishery affected
Now
by
onto the
overhead.
canal. I didn't stay quiet just because he got me. The guys had wandered off.
Why is there always huge, great big muddy puddles underneath the bridges? You think that's the driest part of the canal path, but it doesn't seem to be the case.
Good place to clean your boots there.
Well, there is that.
This is a nice lockkeeper's house, isn't it?
Yeah, that was. I wouldn't say it was derelict, but a year or two ago it was certainly in need of repair, and it's all been painted nicely and done up and repointed. I guess it's been done out inside as well. Very nice.
There's me swooping down with the gimbal, and it's quite a nice effect. That the ducks didn't mind.
Well, get in the water ducks. That's your natural habitat.
I think it was a bit weird then, but never mind. Oh, blue sky.
So this is lower Bittell reservoir doesn't actually feed water in the canal, it feeds water back into the fields that the upper canal stole in the first place. Two reservoirs by each other. Here we are walking underneath the M42. Look at all this
Think of
graffiti.
that one, if you sleep
Imagine
on that
spending
side.
all your time and effort, not to mention quite a lot of money, spraying random shapes in strange words like, what's that? Clicked.
I think they turn up because of the special effect you get on this bridge from the cars going over the top. I think it's amazing.
Interesting noises. Look at all this lovely dappled stuff.
It gives you atmosphere. Maybe that's another reason why it draws them in.
The artiness of it inspires bog to come
That's
here.
right, yeah.
And
You got orange Effie or whatever it, Ellie?
And
Ellie
bog.
Bug, blue bug.
Bog's probably 56 now, did it 30 years ago?
Where it says, you know, what happens to the earth if humans just disappeared overnight. The canal would fill up with vegetation, silt up. You've never even noticed a canal after about 120 years.
Of course, if you install these orange floaty things, that seems to work as well.
Boys, or even buoys as our American cousins might call
Buoys?
them.
Oh dear.
Oh yeah.
We've got some nice houses here, I must admit. It's pretty idyllic. It was on that day. Now this bridge, I always wondered if it was damaged, they'd get stuck. It's the only way in and out of that little estate or that little road.
Plenty of boats. Maybe you could jump on one if you really needed to. Anyway, look at this nice little country pub. A very nice place for a quiet pint, I would imagine. But it's very, very idyllic in there.
Well, it's always, as long as you think, can I jump over that fence? It's total emergency. Yes, I can. Well, there is that. Yeah.
That was a nice friendly place, if somewhat busy. Shame we spilt the beer.
Yeah,
what a
what
waste.
a with cows. Because they're not there to eat you, they're just there to chase you. So they might actually prefer the chasing person, the running person, whatever.
It's not every day you see a cow in the bar. That's for sure.
Look, there's one over there. You can tell it's local and it's been enjoying itself. Far too many pints. Look at the state of its horns.
Just as we crossed the M42.
Here we are at the M42, a little footbridge. No graffiti, I don't know why not. Couldn't be bothered. Maybe graffiti doesn't really work on the little metal railings. The motorway is incredibly noisy. We'll be able to tell how much a bit later. But as we were walking across, it was actually raining quite heavily. You can't really tell. It doesn't show in the video. But it was a bit of a shower. Kind of noticed that Steve had a great big gap in his rucksack where he'd not zipped it up. He would have several gallons of water at the end of the walk if we hadn't spotted it. I couldn't do it. I was too busy filming. But as I said, it's really noisy. You don't notice much in your car, but as you stood over the motorway, it's really quite unpleasantly noisy. I think you'd find yourself deafened if you stood there for several hours. Not that you would want to, but you do see people standing on bridges for various reasons. Here's an indication how noisy it is.
So yeah, so it was the average was 77, but it did peak at 89 dBs, which is quite loud. You wouldn't necessarily want to live next door to the motorway, to be fair.
Green railway station.
There we go. Nice greenery at last. And here we are at Barnt Green, opposite the railway station. Quite a nice little railway station. In fact, quite a big railway station for a nice little village.
It's nicely located right in front of the park. Well, one of the entrances anyway.
Back in the day, people used to throng here from Birmingham, and this is where they got into the park. But, this part of the park is all uphill, so we've got a long slog up the hill, through the trees and the woods. But
The hill.
very handy for people of Barnt Green. Nice part of the Lower Barnt Green. Very expensive houses. No new development. They obviously want to keep it that way.
Very posh. Keep the riffraff out.
So this path was a bit muddy. You can see there's a few muddy holes there. We'll leave them for other people to wallow in.
Yeah, well, the water runs downhill, so...
There was some damage up here from some storm, some trees lying down on the path which somebody chopped up for us, so we didn't have to climb over them, which was nice of them.
A manicured park, and then you do something funny with a camera.
Yeah, sorry about that, John. I don't know what I was doing there. I'd like to pretend it was some artistic thought. Probably just forgot which way to hold the phone. So it doesn't look too bad, though. You can see the height of the trees this way. No, the trees that were falling over.
Can't see how steep the hill is, though.
Oh, true, but you hear us panting and gasping. That's usually a good sign.
Right.
And at the end, here we are. Back to the car park.
Back at the car park, look quite fairly empty, and let's see how far we actually... how far we did.
So it took us 2 hours, 28 minutes, 10k, average of 4.3 kilometres per hour.
Not too bad.
Yeah. So, John, at the conclusion of the video, let's give some marks out of 5. So, for some of the aspects of this, what would your marks out of 5 be for the actual walk itself?
I think the walk was nice, so I would definitely give that 4 stars.
Okay. Ease of access, such as parking?
Oh, that was really good. Easy to get to, nice car park, 5 stars.
Okay. And the $64,000 question, what about the actual video that we've done?
Well, I don't think it was quite as good. I think that we're looking at potentially 2, maybe 3 stars.
Really? I'm shocked. Shocked I am. But, okay. Thank you very much. Time for a coffee.
Oh yes, off for a coffee. One last thing.
Factorum deactivate.
Thank you for joining us, and we hope you join us again. Remember, like and subscribe. What's the worst that could happen?